a happy and meaningful life, I see focusing on your values as your guiding lights as a key to that happiness. And it happens with money too. Sometimes people think that money is the obstacle, but I think knowing your values is. Hi, I'm Bridget Sullivan-Mamel. I've got a family financial planning practice in Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm John Shear. I've got a fee-only financial planning practice in Middleton, Wisconsin. And joining us today on this episode of Friends Talk Financial Planning to talk about values and money is George Kinder, a registered life planner and one of the founders of that movement and a pioneer in our industry. So really excited to have you on the show today, George.
Yeah.
Wonderful to be here, John and Bridget. Great to see you both.
Yeah, and I can't wait to talk to you about this because you're reading one of your previous books that you wrote decades ago, 7 Stages of Money Maturity, Financial Security. People will find it. I could see that your values of freedom, truth, and social justice were sparks that help you create the whole life planning movement. And I'm really interested to talk to you about those values and how you use them to shape your life's work.
Wow, what a big question, Bridget. And I love it. And it's interesting, I know that how important values and the whole theme of how values is to you and to many people. And there are many people who do value-based, what is called value-based planning of one sort or another. And it's never been a word that I've used a lot, but hearing you describe it, I'm going, yay, right there, right? And so I've been thinking as you've been talking, how I would frame it for myself. And what I've done with clients is inspired them to live the life that they would find most meaningful, most thrilling, most exciting, most vital, and most authentic. And I guess those are all values, aren't they, when you think about it, right? And in order to get there, I realized that my primary value when I'm with another human being is listening. Is listening in a way that they know I get them. I'm here, like nobody's listened to them before in some way. I really want to listen, passionately want to listen. So those are values that that come up. And then you mentioned my book, and I think you mentioned my book. And so I've written this. Is it my final book? Might be. It's called The 3 Domains of Freedom. And Bridget's right on. Freedom is a huge theme of all of my books. And I've written books of poetry and philosophy and meditation and 3 books on money, 2 books on civilization. Freedom's a huge theme in all of them. In this book, in a way, I'm trying to summarize it. And so maybe these are the values that I stand for, most of all, Bridget. I think for me, in living, what I try to do is live in freedom all the time. So, that's hard, right? I mean, things come up and you get torn this way or torn that way. That's hard. So how do you do that? And that's really why I wrote the book, because I thought, well, as I thought about it, I thought, there really are 3 different domains that I hop back and forth to. So the first domain, and we all get this intellectually, the first domain is each moment is yours. Don't we understand that? I mean, really, each moment I can choose in this moment to be free, to be as I like to be complete in myself, to be authentic, to be right here in this moment. And that's a practice. There's a practice for that called mindfulness that's very popular these days. And mindfulness, I think it's a meditative practice. I think that people don't say this, but this is what I think. I think it's the practice of the mastery of the present moment. And the present moment's the only moment we ever experience freedom in, because you can't experience the past, you can't experience the future. All you get is the present moment. So what a cool thing. So a third of this very easy to read, but I think profound book, an inspiring book, I hope it's both, is about the practice of mindfulness so that each moment, we claim each moment as a domain of freedom for ourselves. But then, life happens, right? And we can't just be in the moment sometimes because, our spouse calls, our kids call, the tax man calls, and we get all these things that happen, the stock market's crashing and we want to make a call. All these things are happening. So the second one is your life is yours. And that's very precious and really what I've done professionally, and how really you, Bridget, and you got to me, and John, how you know me for years, that I've pioneered something in the financial planning arena that insists for financial planners that they place the client's life first, ahead of their own interests, ahead of their own spreadsheets, ahead of their own products. It's first. So what I talk about there is, how do we place our own life first? So I've I live with my eyes on the prize, with this sense of who it is I really want to be. And we've talked about that in other programs, but that's really important. I think that's important for all of us, that if we have something we're thrilled about and really moved by, that we live for that. And that's your life is yours. That's the second value. The third one is the one that we really struggle with. And Bridget, I don't know, there's in the intro or before, you talked about social justice. I believe in democracy, and I believe that the reason that we're in a difficult place right now is because our institutions were given something 100 years ago, 250 years ago, when the whole Industrial Revolution began. But we gave to these organizations, government gave it. They talk about, free market. They say, hey, government, no interference. Well, in fact, we interfered right from the beginning. We said, you get limited liability. And that meant they could do a lot of things that maybe we wouldn't have been happy about. Like, for instance, put money into politics where it's really us, or do things with the earth that make it threatened in some way, or there are a variety of things. Or, the whole thing with the media right now, that we can't trust the media we go to. Is it really telling the truth? So civilization is yours. I think we ought to celebrate all the great things that have been done, and there are amazing things that we're living in the midst of. I'm so thrilled to be here in this moment, and so thrilled with our ancestors and what they've delivered, but the job isn't done. And moreover, we need to do some things at the base of our institutions, insisting that they put the truth ahead of their own self-interest, that they put democracy ahead of their own self-interest, and they put the planet ahead of their own self-interest. And I think if that were to happen, and humanity, if they were to do that, I think that we wouldn't have nearly the problems that we have. We wouldn't have the polarization that has occurred, and we'd be a lot further along. So I'm fighting for that right now, and that's in the book. I talk about how you might do that. I think there's just one sentence legislative proposal. I call it fiduciary in all things. And so I'm just at the end of my life, late 70s. I'm fighting for, I want to make this world be a better place. And that's how I'm doing it. That's how I'm doing it.
I really appreciate this conversation, both you guys. Bridget, I always get learn things from you talking about values and money, because I know that's so important. And George, it's like drinking from a fire hose for me, listening. I've got what I feels like a simplistic question, but I want to ask you, when you talk about freedom, do you have a third, and maybe it's read the book and talks about, but when I think freedom, it's not, in my head, well, I can't just go to the beach or play golf every day. Freedom is not just literally, or maybe it is. That's my question is, can you define what freedom means as you think about it in your work?
I think it's really important when you mention go to the beach or play golf. Those may be values for you that you would prefer to be doing more of the time than you're doing right now. And what freedom means to me is, what is that balance where you feel thrilled with what it is that you're doing in your life, so that you don't feel that you're sacrificing so much that you don't get to. So that the theme isn't, oh, I don't get to be at the beach. I don't get to be with my kids. I don't get to write the great novel or do Instagram video posts. I don't get to do that. That's not the theme. The theme is I'm doing it. And the work that I'm doing so that I have that extra time, so that in fact, that part of my life is flourishing. So freedom for me, the reason that I divide it into three domains is I think we can claim it in every moment in a way, because a lot of it has to do with, am I really here in a way that I feel is authentic, has integrity, is kind, truthful? Am I really here in this moment with whoever I'm with myself in a way that feels great? And if I'm not, maybe I need a timeout like I give my kids sometimes and look at it and just take a moment and just go, okay, what would feel good? So so I think there are three domains. I think one is that trajectory of our life and how we live it and what we're meant to deliver. I think one is that every moment. And then the third one is the species. The civilization is not about nation states. Civilization is about the human species. Civilization is who we are. And right now, there's a lot of cause to be ashamed of who we are. There's corruption all over the place. We're battling with each other. That shouldn't be. And we can end that. We can take that on. It takes work, but we can take it on. So I hope that's helpful in terms of.
That is, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a great place to wrap it up. I'm Bridget Sullivan-Mermel. I've got a fee-only financial planning practice in Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm John Shear. I've got a fee-only financial planning practice in Middleton, Wisconsin. Our guest today has been industry pioneer George Kinder, sharing some of his new work. His book, The Three Domains of Freedom, is now available. And George, can tell people where they can get the book.
Yeah, go to Amazon, and if you want to see any other aspect of my work, my creative work, go to georgekinder.com, and you'll see the book advertised there as well.
It's awesome. We so appreciate you joining us for these episodes. And to our viewers, please subscribe.
Yay.